Ain't too much more to say on that. We've got a lot to discuss, people. So again, keep your points coming in and whatnot, people. But Tab Police, look away. We got bare things to concern ourselves with. As much as I like chatting to you lot, smash that. Are we not at 100 likes, man? You lot are boying it. You're boying it. And I see another super chat. Big up yourself, broski, my guy, man. Wish you had something to say about that, but I appreciate that. Says who cares about Arsenal, but is the biggest DG fan. As long as they talking, man. You would have seen last night. Wait, what's this? Oh, that's the Premier League table. That's me and Zar. Big up Zar. Had him on earlier. Real Madrid are pushing to hijack Arsenal's deal to sign Martin Zubimendi, but Arsenal, Madrid, you can't beat us on the field or off it, man. Hijack who? Hijack where? We hijack the hijackers. But Arsenal remain confident he will join them. Football London understands. Zubimendi has already agreed verbally a move to Arsenal with only a medical left to complete. Now, the hijack stuff was everything you were seeing yesterday. You would have seen David Ornstein today say Martin Zubimendi's transfer to Arsenal is regarded by the club as being done and signed, and the player is expected to link up with the squad for the start of pre-season, which... What's the bit that gets you lot? For me, it's the start of pre-season. Real Madrid like Zubimendi, but did not pursue or actively work on recruiting him. Fair enough, man. I don't know the we got again. My tabs are a bit scattered. People, allow me, but and I don't know the credibility of this Kiko Suarez guy. But Rodrygo is probably the biggest name that's linked with Arsenal Football Club. He has said "F it, bomb." Rodrygo to leave Real Madrid this season. Franco joining was a key factor for him to be sold. Now the Argentinian is here, the club and the player ready to part ways. According to my sources, where anyone can just say according to my sources, Rodrygo will be an Arsenal player very soon. If there is another possible club, but Arsenal is more than likely the one. Everybody's going to be involved. Really sticking my neck out on the line, but this is 90% done. I mean, even if you're wrong, at the end of the day, you've got the blue tick, so it could just be engagement farming. On the topic of Zubimendi, skipping back over, Arsenal will pay a total of around 65 million euros, which equates to 55 million pounds for Martin Zubimendi, which is more than his release clause, which is in the region of 51 million pounds, 60 million euros, after agreeing with Sociedad to pay for his transfer in installments. Coming to this agreement after months of negotiations enables Arsenal to avoid paying the release clause in one lump sum. We've shown we do that on a number of occasions. They want to leave it till July for their own accounting. They're helping us, budget properly. So, yeah, welcome Zubimendi, assuming that's a thing. Now, Sam Dean of The Telegraph has said, Arsenal face battle from Saudi Arabia for Benjamin Sesko. Striker's preference is to remain in Europe, but Saudi interest could drive up asking price required for Arsenal to sign the 22-year-old. You never know. It's life-changing money. You speak to Ivan Toney and Cristiano Ronaldo, they're quite peed off with the way the Saudi League's spoken about. But the headline and the sentence after that, his preference is to remain in Europe. Unless money is the motive and it's an offer he can't refuse and generational wealth, he's staying in Europe. So Saudi can't really drive up no asking price if you don't want to go there. If the British teams get involved in addition to Arsenal, that's another thing. Like Zubimendi, we've heard about Sesko. Well, to be fair, Zubimendi and Sesko have been linked with you for a year or two, or at the very minimum, 18 months. Apparently, Arsenal face competition from Saudi Arabian clubs in the race to sign RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko this summer. Telegraph Sport understands that two Saudi Pro League sides have recently expressed an interest in signing Sesko, who is one of the most in-demand forwards in European football. Arsenal have a long-standing interest in Sesko and have been in talks with Leipzig to understand the size and the terms of the deal that would be required to sign him before next season. Sources in Germany have believed for several weeks that Sesko is Arsenal's top priority for the centre forward position, but it still remains to be seen whether the Premier League club prioritizes the 22-year-old over other options and makes a formal bid. Andrea Berta, the Arsenal sporting director, has been working hard to understand the required costs in terms of transfer fee and wages for a number of different attacking options across Europe. Sporting's Victor Gyökeres is among these players. Another move for Aston Villa star Ollie Watkins, who was targeted by Arsenal in January transfer window, is regarded by sources as highly unlikely, but cannot be totally ruled out. Surely we could do with a Watkins for the squad. I know I'm dreaming, but Sesko, Rodrygo, the options of Kai Havertz and Marino across the season up front, as well as other places. Kai Havertz, Trossard, Martinelli, thereabout. Ollie, 29-year-old Ollie Watkins, the games where Sesko might be struggling or the others are struggling, he can help us. I know I'm dreaming, but there's that. I'd love two strikers and a left winger, but dream chasing, man. Hopefully we get there one day. And it's weird because it's all ifs and buts. But if Gabriel Jesus turned out to be the striker we wanted, if Martinelli's form after that breakout season continued, we're probably looking at squad fillers rather than ceiling raisers. But we can't talk about what is. We can't talk about what if. We can only talk about what is. So yeah, Telegraph Sport understands Leipzig are willing to sell Sesko, who scored 21 goals in 45 appearances last season, 13 in the league, one short of the previous year, which was 14, I believe, in a deal worth 80 million euros, which equates to 68 million quid. The prospect of strong interest from two Saudi clubs, one of which is believed to be Al Hilal, could yet drive up the price. However, the Sevillans' current preference is to remain in Europe. Meanwhile, Arsenal are working to finalise the transfer of Chelsea goalkeeper Kepa in a deal worth 5 million. We all know he's on loan at Bournemouth. We're also extremely confident of signing Real Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi. So forget all the hijack costs. What's all of this? Bert was appointed in March. Life has come quick at him. Yeah, man. And we all know the Bakayo Sakas, the Ethan Wanyeris, the Miles Lewis Kellys, the William Salibas, Thomas Partey and Trossard, to be fair, in terms of new deals, them rumours are not going anywhere. And naturally, Arsenal would want their stars to feel valued. It's nice to get Magalhaes over the line. Elsewhere, Berta has also been considering potential options for the wide attacking position. Williams of Bilbao in Spain is known to have admirers within the Emirates Stadium, but as reported by the Telegraph Sport earlier this year, a move for the 22-year-old is financially complicated. And he seems like, I don't know what's wrong with him, because sometimes it's like you're going Barca, then you're not on going Barca, and then you want to leave Bilbao, now you don't, then you're linked with someone in England or Bayern. I don't know. And I think he's a good player with potential to be good. And Arteta's looked at him for a number of years. At some point, we have to say, you know what, one love, move on. Whether that is Rafa Leao or a more development signing or Kareem Adeyemi or Malik Fufano of Lyon, whether it's a starter or whatever, you got to do something else. I don't want to hear we tried. Sometimes sometimes mixed signals is a signal, I guess. Arsenal hope to generate funds through sales this summer, with Zinchenko likely to leave the club as he enters the final year of his contract. He's been linked with AC Milan. I don't really buy it, because the links kind of say that if they sell Theo Hernandez, so it's not like they want Zinchenko per se. He might be on a list of potential replacements if they have to act. There's also uncertainty over the future of forwards Leandro Trossard. He could yet be handed a new deal, but there's still uncertainty over his loan and Nelson, who spent last season on loan at Fulham. Apparently, Fulham want to keep Nelson permanently. I don't know how true that is. Lokonga and Fabio Vieira were both loaned out last summer and could leave the club on a permanent basis during this window. Tavares has already been sold to Lazio for around 6 million, while Marquinhos has joined Carrizo in a permanent deal for 3 million. So that's 9 million already. If Ramsdale leaves, there's a sell-on clause there. If Emi Martinez leaves Villa, surely we've got a sell-on clause. Joe Willock's been linked with a move away from Newcastle there, so that's the sell-on clause. Every little helps. Plus, we probably got some money in January because of Mika Berth going Monaco. Every little helps, I guess, man. So yeah, that was behind the paywall. We had to use a dodgy website to obviously go and look at that. But yeah, can close that tab. Again, Romano said Arsenal agreed deal to sign Martin Zubimendi from Sociedad. Zubimendi has now verbally agreed a long-term deal, so formal steps must now follow with Arsenal to trigger his clause. He's going to be our first signing of the season. I don't know. Thoughts on Nusa? He looks good, you know. He looks very good, if I'm completely honest with you. Quality player. Gyökeres has 0 years of experience in a top 5 league. Harsh, man. But it needs to tie down MLS and Saliba. Facts. He's got a lot to do. Garnacho ahead of Williams and Leao bun the pole. I told you lot to vote. I have no doubt there's probably Man United fans who have infiltrated that and being dumb. But yeah, 30 more likes and we have 100 people. What are we doing? Big up to you lot who have hit the like button. There's a revenge story with Nacho. But a guy who was so dead set on becoming the best footballer, but going to Saudi in his early years, yeah, that's real waffle. I take Garnacho as a bench player. He's cheap and low wages. I don't think he's going to be on low wages, especially if you're making the move to Arsenal at this age. Too many social media antics, man. We've got too many problems as a football club. And I've said this before, if I'm Ruben Amorim, there's pressure on my job. I lost the final to Spurs. I could get sacked. There's better things I want to do in terms of recruitment and incomings and outgoings. And I have to deal with fucking Garnacho. Like a club that's had Wayne Rooney, Ronaldo, all of them guys, Garnacho, thinking he's Johnny Big Bollocks. But cut from the team, man. Again, Martin Zubimendi's transfer to Arsenal is regarded by the club as a done deal and signed, and the player is expected to link up with the squad for the start of pre-season. Real Madrid liked Zubimendi, but did not pursue or actively work on recruiting him. It says there, Mikel Arteta would like to add a centre defender to complement the first choice pair of Magalhaes and Saliba. If Arsenal do enter the transfer market for a defender, one man high on their list is Guehi, 24 years of age. Guehi has a year remaining on his contract at Crystal Palace, which could make him considerably more affordable. The issue may be whether the player is prepared to join Arsenal, where he must compete for a place in a World Cup year. What would you lot make of that? We've gone over Marquinhos, but yeah, man, he's gone. Arsenal are focused on Benjamin Sesko, discussing and advancing for Sesko. The other name on the list is Victor Gyökeres. At the moment, that situation is not developing. So if there's a spanner in the works for Sesko, maybe the Gyökeres thing. Arsenal and Leipzig have already scheduled their next round of talks regarding Sesko with a positive feeling around a possible deal. Leipzig value him between 80 to 100 million euros, which is slightly more than what we just read. Ornstein did say Arsenal are focusing on a new nine, whether it's going to be Sesko or Gyökeres. They also want a top quality wide player, ideally on the left-hand side. They would also like some backup for Saka on the right. That's why they targeted Mbeumo. In midfield, they need to renew Partey or let him go. And if he goes, they're going to have to replace him. They would like a centre half. They were in for Howson, but didn't manage to get him. So watch the space on this one, people. El Hilal are interested in Sesko and want to sign a striker today in time for the Club World Cup with the deadline running out, mate. You could press for time. Sesko won't play versus Bosnia for Slovenia. Apparently, Leipzig have asked the Slovenian FA for him to be left out to avoid injury. His preference is to stay in Europe despite El Hilal interest, and apparently fresh talks are starting this week. We love a dragged out process. Fulham are interested in bringing back Reece Nelson if an appropriate deal can be reached. Give us 10, 15 mil, a fat sell-on clause, a buy clause, safe Nelson, man. And you finally get some stability, man, because 1 minute you're here, then you're on loan. Wouldn't say you've pulled up any trees on any loan spell you've been on, but it'd be nice to see Nelson show some of his potential. As I said, we're going to go over Rodrygo. We've got plenty to discuss. Tab police, look away now. We're going all the way there. It's worth paying attention to Rodrygo. He has been approached through intermediaries by some Premier League clubs, with Arsenal keeping an eye on him. Arsenal like Rodrygo and feel he can add another dimension to their attack. However, the player's father and agent do not want to enter into negotiations until the striker has spoken to Madrid and Alonso. Rodrygo says he wants to feel important and he feels most comfortable playing on the left or more centrally than on the right. Brother, if Odegaard plays like that, you can play in the 10, you know. Left-hand side, Martinelli will show you around London as a fellow Brazilian and move from that spot. Might even play you up front for no reason. Rodrygo will speak to Xabi Alonso about his future. The player will express that he wants to feel important and is most comfortable on the left. Now, if I'm Xabi Alonso, I'll be real. I'm telling you what you want to hear, whether I'm right or wrong. I've got bare things that I want to do at Real Madrid because it's Real Madrid. Yeah, it's romantic. Xabi Alonso's got history. Once you're not doing what needs to be done, your life there from a footballing point of view is short. Look at Carlo. So you got to do all of that. I don't know how many players he wants to bring in. And I find it quite crazy with Real Madrid and Man United hearing they need to sell to buy and finances. But these clubs have deep pockets. But I only see this happening unless Rodrygo makes it clear under no circumstances I want to leave. Or if Real Madrid, for whatever reason, say, yo, you're leaving. They don't matter what Alonso says. And I don't think it's going to be that. And you're not going to see any resolution over this until after the Club World Cup, much less. I mean, to be honest, weirder things have happened, but do we really see anything over Rodrygo, whether he's for where Arsenal's concerned, maybe other clubs, until we get Sesko over the line, confirm Zubimendi, confirm who else am I missing? Sesko, Zubimendi, Kepa. I feel like I'm missing someone else out. There's a bag of new deals. So would love Rodrygo, X factor that we're talking about. He saw firsthand what we're on. We can beat your team on the pitch or off it. Yeah, in my lifetime, we ain't lost to you lot. Come over here. The Athletic said he's been approached by many Premier League clubs. Many. You never know. There might be some happy-go-lucky loan bids, but many. I could see Liverpool